welcome back, or welcome if this is your first episode tuning in with me. My name is Melissa, and I am here to help guide you through the world of wine. So if you're somebody who might be new to the wine world, who just wants to learn a little bit more about wine, you're in the right spot, my friend. I've got you covered. So if this is your first episode, kind of tuning in with me here, make sure to check out some of the other episodes on my channel as well to really become immersed in the wine world. All right, so today we are actually going to go over one of my favorite white wines, also known as Sauvignon Blanc. So sit back, relax, grab a glass of your favorite wine and join me on this journey today. So just like Riesling and Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc is a grape varietal. One of the most unique aspects about this particular grape varietal is it's actually one of the few grapes that make delicious wines all over the world, and not just in one particular area. But as you guys are learning, or you'll learn today, where grapes grow is a big determination of what flavors and notes that you're going to taste, as well as smell. So wines produced and or grown in one location will at least have some differences, if not very noticeable differences, depending on where they're grown. So, all right, when it comes to the history of Sauvignon Blanc, I found some incredibly helpful information from winespeed.com, which is a website created by the Wine Bible team. And as an FYI, the Wine Bible is another amazing and credible wine book that I would highly recommend. I've talked about wine folly before. Today we're talking Wine Bible. Sauvignon Blanc originated in the Loire Valley in as early as the 1500s. The name Sauvignon is derived from two French words, and all right, you guys, I don't know French and I'm not great with French pronunciation, so please forgive me. But it's derived from the words sauvage, meaning wild, and vigne, meaning vine. And the name isn't just this creative, romantic way to describe the wine. Sauvignon Blanc is, in fact, a vigorous or wild growing plant, and the shape of its leaves are similar to those of wild grapevines. Personally, I love the meaning behind the name altogether. So, fun fact, Sauvignon Blanc is a sibling of Gruner, Chenin Blanc, and several other grapes that originated in central France. Over time, Sauvignon Blanc spread to the region around Bordeaux, where it spontaneously crossed with Cabernet Franc, creating Cabernet Sauvignon sometime before the mid-1750s. If you want to know more details about this, make sure to check out my episode entitled Cabernet Sauvignon. Now, in California, Sauvignon Blanc was first planted in the Livermore Valley in the 19th century, thanks to newspaper journalist turned winemaker Charles Wetmore, who in the late 1870s persuaded the California legislature to establish the State Viticultural Commission. As the commission's first president and CEO, Wetmore headed straight for the prestigious estates of Europe, where he obtained cuttings, including cuttings of Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon, another grape varietal, from Bordeaux. Those Sauvignon Blanc cuttings, now called Clone 1, became the plant material for vineyards all over the state of California. Later, Beaulieu Vineyards won a gold medal for their Sauvignon Blanc, also probably Clone 1, at the 1915 International Wine Exposition in San Francisco. But in California, things were beginning to become more grim for this grape varietal. Grown at high yields after Prohibition, it became the basis for innocuous sweet and dry jug Sauterne, spelt without the final S as it is in France. Good Sauterne, also called Haute Sauterne, was said to be made by just a few wineries, including Inglenook, Larkmead, Eschol, which I think is now called Trefethen, and ultimately Robert Mondavi Winery. Indeed, sensing a marketing opportunity to distinguish its dry version, Mondavi rebranded it as Fumé Blanc, a reference to the Puy Fumé wines of the Loire Valley. And Mondavi still makes a very fine example of Fumé Blanc today. While historically the quality of California Sauvignon Blancs has been rather variable, the variety is now getting new and exciting attention. So as of the mid-2010s, a new class of Sauvignon Blancs emerged, principally in Napa Valley. Complex and expensive, the new Super Sauvignons point to a bright future for the variety in California. Sauvignon Blanc vines develop buds late, and interestingly, it also ripens early. The grape develops best in temperate climates found in numerous wine regions. I've already mentioned Bordeaux in California, but they also thrive in South Africa, Australia, and my favorite ones are grown in New Zealand. Sauvignon Blanc is now the world's 8th most widely planted grape. In terms of white wines, only Chardonnay is more popular. And in fact, Sauvignon Blanc is now so popular, the grape, just like many other grapes, has its own holiday, International Sauvignon Blanc Day, and is celebrated, depending on your calendar, every April 24th or May 17th. I say celebrate both and call it a day. Life is too short, and I just think you should drink all the wine, my friends, so celebrate both days. All right, also, fun fact, if you see the words Bordeaux Blanc on the label, it's a Sauvignon Blanc which will likely be probably blended with Semillon grapes from Bordeaux, France, and I will tell you, it's delicious, but as I mentioned earlier, my favorites come from the Marlborough region of New Zealand. So in general, the notes you're likely going to get from Sauvignon Blanc are going to be gooseberry, honeydew, grapefruit, white peach, and passion fruit. It's considered a dry wine with medium to light body, high acidity, and ranges between 11% to 13.5% alcohol by volume or ABV. But how can you tell the difference between a Sauvignon Blanc from France versus New Zealand versus California? So old world wines, which come from Europe, in this case we're talking France, tend to be more rustic in style and lower in alcohol. New world wines, in this case California or New Zealand, tend to be fuller bodied and more fruit driven. They use more new oak and actually have a higher alcohol content typically. Sauvignon Blanc from France tends to be earthier, and chalky gravel soils impart flavors of gunpowder and flint with strong smoky minerality. The wines are generally very well balanced, which is considered to be a good thing in the world of wine. That's kind of what you're searching for a lot of the time when it comes to a good wine. But as a side note, the reason I love Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand just a little bit more than France is because they're in fact more acidic. And that's what my palate loves. This is entirely a personal preference. But what have I said before? And if this is your first time tuning in, I'll tell you today that when it comes to wine, preference is the main priority. Wine is meant to be enjoyed. And if you're not enjoying it because someone tells you what you're doing is wrong, then you lose all of the fun of wine. So, of course, I always say yes to trying new things, and yes, learn new things. But don't be afraid to like what you like. And that's a lesson in life, folks. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk today. I'm here to give you lessons on wine as well as life. You know, you got a twofer today. All right, anyway, back on track. In California, Sauvignon Blanc-based wines tend to take on flavors of citrus and tropical fruit. And the Sauvignon Blanc American consumers drink most tends to be from the southern islands of New Zealand. These expressions of Sauvignon Blanc tend to produce more herbaceous and fruit-forward wines with lush tropical fruit flavors dominating the palate. Sandy soils impart good drainage and lower fertility, causing grapes to grow in lower and more concentrated yields. The wines are generally fuller-bodied and more fruit-forward, yet retain a striking acidity that keeps them fresh. All right, so now we're gonna go to the fun part. Let's dive into the food pairings with help from my favorite people at Wine Folly. So Sauvignon Blanc goes great with herb-driven sauces over chicken, tofu, and fish dishes, matched with feta or paired with herb-driven Asian flavors such as Thai or Vietnamese cuisine. Keep in mind this wine is light, so keep your pairings light. Try chicken, turkey, crab, salmon, or my personal favorite, oysters. And for my cheese lovers out there, I would seek out the soft, flavorful cheeses like goat cheese, burrata, buffalo mozzarella, feta, and sour cream. All right, the last thing I will cover today is a Sauvignon Blanc I would recommend from the Squealing Pig Vineyards in Marlborough, New Zealand. And all right, just to paint a picture for how great this place is, I wanted to pull some verbiage from their website that's in their About Me section to kind of give you a feel for how great this brand is and why I think you'd love it too. So Squealing Pig is a tale about a pig who wanted more from life than just his pig pen, keen on wine without the super dry, boring bits. Get it? Like a boar, like that pig kind of animal. He went on an adventure to Marlborough and Central Otago, seeking out wines with a difference. And they always say, we make wine, so do lots of people. Actually, we just have more fun than everybody else. Relax, it's just wine. And something about that speaks to me because I just think it's adorable and I think it's really cool. So the Squealing Pig Sauvignon Blanc is packed with passion fruit and herbaceous aromas on the nose. On the palate, it's crisp with citrus flavors and of course that nice long finish. You can find this piggy product at Total Wine, or if you live in Orlando or plan to visit Orlando, at one of my favorite restaurants known as Island Time, located over in Thornton Park, kind of close to Lake Eola. Island Time is a great place to relax with an amazing selection of wines, and the Squealing Pig Sauvignon Blanc pairs well with the incredibly modern Caribbean Southern infused cuisine there. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Cheers, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.